Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jake, Other Jake, here on X for another episode of Otherverse Live with our founder and CEO Brian Schuster. How you doing, Brian?
I'm doing well today, Jake. How about yourself?
Very good, very good. Thank you all for your patience. I was stuck in a little bit of traffic, so we had to start this space a couple minutes late, but no worries. We got a whole space packed for you guys today.
Yeah, we sure do. Um, I'm wondering if I was the only one who saw that this space had a display problem saying it was noon Pacific time. It looks like other people saw it correctly. So weird stuff from X.
Very, very strange. Yeah, yeah.
But I did take a screenshot for you there, Jake, just so
Oh,
you can
did you?
see that
Yeah.
I'm not
Okay.
making it up.
Yeah, no, I believe you. I believe it's. Is this the first time that's happened?
Yeah, first time I've noticed.
Weird, weird, weird.
Yep.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
But
everyone's
welcome, everybody. Everybody made it.
everyone made it, and you know what? Before we get started today, I just want to make sure everyone's aware. We do giveaways every Thursday here on our Otherverse Live on X. We've got 3 giveaways a day. In order to be eligible, you need to do a few things. You have to retweet, repost this space. You have to tag 3 friends in the comments and make sure you're following Otherverse. That will make you eligible to win today's prizes.
Yeah,
All
may as well do that right now because boy, we got an action-packed space and lots of prizes, which I think, well, I should say, I'll give my disclaimer here right up at the top. Um, Not financial advice. I'm not giving investment advice. Stuff that I'm going to talk about in this space contains forward-looking statements and speculative and opinions and whatnot. So, to the extent that I go into any legal matters or any investment matters, just keep in mind it's not investment advice and it's speculative. But I don't want to be feeling like I can't talk as freely as I would like. So with that in mind, boy, we're giving away some great prizes. It always feels great to send people Uther, especially knowing what I know that's coming up here. So maybe don't maybe go ahead and qualify yourself for the giveaways.
there you go. There you go.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, so I don't know where would you like me to begin today, Jake?
So what I'm thinking, so let's pick up where we left off from last week. So if you were tuning in last week, or if you weren't and you're just tuning in today, we've had some stuff going on with Radium, and maybe you do a little recap on that, and then talk about the saga and what's happening with that.
Yeah. Um, to recap, of course, um, Otherverse has used Raise as our token, essentially, our virtual currency, before tokens were a thing, before Bitcoin was even created.
On the
We've
Classic
been,
Network, right?
sorry,
On the Classic Network.
on the Classic Network, right? That has transacted, I mean, unbelievable volumes of transactions and revenue and dollar amounts over this, 16 plus years of use. We spent an enormous amount of effort to protect this mark, this symbol of trading, including going to battle with the Tampa Bay Rays, who objected to the mark. And of course, that's an expensive fight and negotiation. Eventually, of course, we got the mark. They agreed that we could use it for virtual currency, for digital economy. As long as it's not being branded for a sports team in that space. Uh, so we have an enormous investment in this trademark, and we have continued to protect it and defend it and use it. And now, as we're looking potentially to bring Raise on chain, we're obviously expanding the classic network alongside with the new Xeon paradigm, the new Xeon browser and platform. And I'll discuss some of the expansion of the classic network here a little bit later in the show. But we're growing on all fronts, and we just can't allow consumer confusion with another you know, with with an entity that's trading a virtual currency essentially, um, in the same category, in the same uh, in the exact same area essentially. Um, so of course, we reached out, um, tried to be as diplomatic and fair-handed as possible. Anybody who knows me, anybody who knows how we do business, I'm always there to make win-win-win. I always say win-win-win, because it's got to be a win for the company. It's got to be a win for the people with whom we're negotiating, and then it's got to be a win for the community and other people that have an interest in the outcome. So I always am looking for those solutions. I believe that I had come up with what was going to be a fantastic value for the company Radium and Radium Protocol, and that would benefit all holders of their token, all holders of our token, all members of both of our communities, um, and be quite profitable. But despite repeated outreach, repeated efforts to get in contact, there was just silence essentially. And so now, now I'm really looking at this as a bulwark case, a case which will set precedent, cases which will show that you can't just run and hide, and say that you're decentralized, or that you're unaccountable. That's the Wild West. That's the days of the internet before the internet crash happened. We don't want to see a crash in Web3. We don't want to see a crash in distributed ledger and blockchain technology. And so, to avoid that, companies, entities need to be mature. They need to grow up. They need to act responsibly. And just because we're seeing this play out with a Bitcoin network, with the knots versus the debate on, let's say, I won't go into. I'm not going to get into the details of that, but the debate on the Bitcoin network moves. Where the potential for people to inscribe copyrighted materials, offensive materials, illegal materials onto the blockchain potentially jeopardizes Bitcoin, and potentially jeopardizes anybody who's running, a validator or a node on that network. It's time for the industry to grow up. It's time for the industry to stand up and say, we are real, we're legitimate, we will not allow our networks to fail because we're going to violate intellectual property or otherwise violate the law. And so, with that as kind of the recap, um, we've
Sure.
been trying step by step to ensure that we don't damage Web3, we don't damage um, Solana, or the Solana ecosystem, but that we get attention from decision makers, or ultimately force decision makers to the table, to deal with, to protect our trademark, to protect it from dilution, to assert our rights. And so, in that vein, we have been stepping up the parties who we believe and we're alleging are contributing to this trademark infringement, starting, with companies that may be less central to Web3, and continuing to escalate. So that's kind of the recap of where we are. We're now engaged in conversations, at least with several entities here. And most recently, I think the most recent post I made, no, the penultimate post on the subject that I made, was with regard to the lawsuit, which we have now filed in against CoinMarketCap and CoinGecko. And we are in communication with one of those parties, at least now. And I really encourage, like, I'm not going to go into details about, you know, negotiations or discussions, or, the legal back and forth, but I would strongly encourage everybody to read over the lawsuit. It's public. I posted the link. Um, and look at the evidence that we included in the lawsuit. Um, and this will give you so much information. I just can't do it in posts. But I've seen a lot of stu- I'll just call it what it is: stupid responses, ignorant responses from people who have no understanding of trademark law, of intellectual property law, of how things work, of what the value is of intellectual property. But if you were to read the lawsuit, if you were to go through and um, pull out relevant portions of that, um, it would give everybody who's listening the power to not only understand but respond and defend the position and really assist us in bringing radium to the negotiating table so that we can still potentially conclude a scenario where everybody comes out a winner. Because if it doesn't conclude that way, we're going to need to continue. And this fight is going to, I don't think this is really a fight. I think this is kind of, as far as it's open and shut. Give me a break. The, you can't just say, well, we're decentralized and therefore we're not responsible for any laws. That's anarchy and chaos, and that will not stand. It can't be allowed to stand, um, uh, because it would invalidate all copyright and trademark and patent rights worldwide, essentially.
Oh, that's
Um,
interesting.
so, that's never going to happen. Um, that's at least my opinion on the matter. Um, as I said, subject to the disclaimer that I gave at the top.
Sure. Yeah, that's very interesting. Um, so yeah, this is. I'm looking for your tweet right now because the tweet I want to actually quote it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Um, yeah. So uh, uh, while you're doing that, um, I'll say, the most recent one, of course, we notified Jupiter and Binance, and we've given them takedown demands. Um, and this is, I really was reluctant to go here, but we're being left with no choice. I can't have people thinking that they're buying Rays for our classic platform, and going on Jupiter or going on Binance, um, or trying to sell their Rays. I mean, this is just ultimately. I had expected and anticipated that this would all have been resolved long ago, because why not? I mean, if there's a scenario where everybody comes out, making money and profiting, why would anybody want to go through this litigation and end up, potentially losing? Well, I'm not even going to say what they're potentially losing. It would be devastating. So, it makes no sense to me. But of course, I have perspective on the legal system. Obviously, I've unfortunately had to be involved in multiple litigations over, it's what happens when you're successful in business. Um, and, I always try to resolve them, because I've learned that there was a genius to the way that the legal system was set up by, the founders of the United States. And the genius of the legal system is it's such a painful process for everybody involved that all rational players should immediately assess their real position and come to a negotiated solution. And that's the only way that people come out really as ahead and winning. That's always how I try to approach these things. I never really want to get embroiled in the battle, because fighting is just a losing proposition for everybody. It's time consuming, it's painful, it's costly.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. Wow.
but unfortunately, I've learned so few players are rational. Everybody thinks that you know they're well. Almost everybody thinks we're right, you're wrong. Let's take it to the mat. They unfortunately always get a painful lesson in the end.
Yeah, yeah, and I was looking at this tweet. It's very long, and you kind of paraphrase it. So I just put the link to the full lawsuit at the top. So
Oh yeah.
if you're listening, you guys want to go, I highly go suggest checking that out and understanding the scope of it because I mean this is it, even being aside from being a part of Otherverse, I think that this is a big it's a big deal for crypto in general because this is this case could set a precedent. I don't think any it hasn't been set before in this space. Is that right, Brian?
Well, not that I'm aware of for sure. And
Yeah.
really, when we're talking about anybody can mint a token with any symbol, um, that creates consumer confusion. That is chaos, and let's face it, that's how fraud happens. That's how people lose money. You think you're buying a legitimate token for a legitimate enterprise, and you find out that it was some con, some scammer. Intellectual property ultimately has to govern, because there's no we really can't live in a world where your investments are always subject to going to zero for no reason, because swindling people out of their money is so easy. So at the end of the day, there needs to be governance here, and whether that's a distributed governance, a centralized governance, you know, um, if you want to play in the big boys game, in the big boy arena of finance, there needs to be clear, bright lines of what the investment is if you're investing in an investable item. And to the extent that you're buying a token, you need to be able to know what it is that you're buying. And this is where what trademarks were designed to do. So that's the clarity. Um, and ultimately, I think this is so healthy for the overall crypto space, the overall blockchain space, even the overall decentralization of um, uh, decentralized ledger and all of that. It's the maturity. I really, having gone through the wild west days of the internet, I see the same thing, and I see the wipeout that's imminently approaching, um, and it can be avoided. It can be avoided by not repeating the mistakes of the past. And this is one of them. Bring it out of the wild west, but do it in a way where it's done consciously instead of by loss of investor confidence and a massive rush to the exits, right?
Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah. So interesting, man.
Yeah.
But
But it really, this whole thing, I mean, obviously it's a focal point of conversation. I'd love to know good ways to short Radium's token. If people have suggestions of how you can get in short, I'd love to hear it. Um, uh, but at the end of the day, here, this is only a tiny fraction of what we're doing over at Otherverse. We have so much progress on. We've been building fast and furiously, and I'm really excited. As I said, we've got some developments with Classic. Obviously, huge developments with Xeon, and maybe we'll pivot to that after we give away some
yeah, yeah.
tokens.
All right. With that being said, I have picked a winner.
Awesome.
Yeah, so first winner of the day. So if you're just joining us, we do three giveaways every week here on Otherverse Live here on X. Um, First two prizes and then a grand prize. Um, there's a 2x potential multiplier. So if you're listening from the previous week and you're a return listener and you win, your prize is multiplied it by two. Okay, with that being said, the first winner of the day is Serene0399, Serene 0399. Congratulations. You've won the third prize for the day. Please go ahead and DM us here at Otherverse to coordinate your prize. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Awesome.
Awesome. All right. All right. First winner of the day. And also, I see Death Division up here. What's up, bud? I sent you an invite to speak and to co host. So come on up whenever you're ready.
Excellent. Um, yeah. So exciting news on the Classic front is that we are um, now preparing to launch the Otherverse Classic on Steam. This has been a long time coming. We've gone through the code meticulously and optimized and done everything um, uh, to prepare for this launch it on Steam. If you're not familiar with Steam, it's a gaming platform. It obviously focuses on um, desktop computers, um, and it's got an enormous user base that um, I think is just going to jump um, into classic. That's going to build out an enormous community in what is essentially a new franchise operation. The potential of this, I think, is off the charts. Of course, this is our getting our feet wet and learning experience to be able to incorporate then and launch out Xeon, also on Steam. Of course, that's much farther down the road. Um, and to leverage all of the assets that we built up over the last 20 years here into a brand new market. So, very exciting about being able to turn on this whole new arena and bring on all of these new users who, of course, are all going to be joining the community and lifting up um, all of our um, all of our offerings, shall I say. So I have no doubt that there's enormous spillover, that there's enormous benefit to the token, to the company. This could absolutely allow me to expand the teams, expand development, um, and you know engender all kinds of additional value. So that's been a really interesting, exciting development. If you're on Steam, at some point we're going to be reaching out and saying, go ahead and wish list the classic system, and then you'll be able to jump on in and participate. Uh, as a free member, um, and clothing designers, decorators, all of these fantastic features that we built out. I mean, it's so much content, um, just many, tens of millions of dollars of work into this classic system that we're going to be excited to unveil to a whole new set of global users.
Beautiful. Yeah, it's all very exciting, and not only that, that's a class. I should say this actually. That's really exciting because that now was Xeon. So if you're just listening and you're not really familiar with what we do at Otherverse, Brian Schuster is the founder and creator of Otherverse, and it's been around for 20 plus years now. Brian, is that correct?
Yep.
Yep. And Xeon is the on-chain new metaverse that's fully decentralized, um, along with his patented technology called Virtual World Web. So it's basically creating a flat internet, morphing it into an immersive space. The classic segment is essentially the original metaverse before it was called metaverse. It was one of the first virtual worlds ever, and that is soon to come on chain as well. Brian, is that correct?
Well, we're investigating that. The first step is to move on to Steam.
Got it. Got it. Okay,
Um,
so that's
and
progression.
right, and then we're gonna see how that all plays before we make the final determination of what we're moving on chain.
Cool. Very good.
Yeah,
Very good.
yeah,
And
um,
one thing I want to footnote with the whole Raise thing, Raise, you've done billions of dollars in transactions before we even launched the other token, right? With
right.
with Raise itself.
Yes, that's absolutely true. I mean, rays have been traded um, on an exchange on our platform, back and forth for dollars. Users buy them, they sell them. Um, they earn. It's play to earn. So if you can go onto the classic system, you can earn rays for use, and we have whole cottage industries, clothing designers, wedding planners, justices of the peace, DJs. Um, Deco who build out virtual worlds for you, because the platform allows anybody to build out a virtual world and connect it to the system. We have search. There's raised for just being social, for just logging in. So it's really a phenomenal test bed use case, and it's been franchised out. So in Brazil, the virtual currency is Braze, starting with a B. In Germany, it's Graze, right? Um, and all of these different variants have uh, uh, allowed us to test metaverse against a live user base of millions of users. So this is why we come into this space with our fourth generation of software, the Xeon generation of software, which I'm going to talk about here shortly because there's huge progress on that front. Our fourth generation of software where we know exactly what the pitfalls are. We know exactly what needs to happen, what attracts users, what users want, what the community really needs, how to protect the community, how to have a low impact on that, how to do offerings and build tools and give those tools to users, and how to run a metaverse network with millions of virtual worlds interconnected and connected on it. So that whole legacy experience that we have, that the team has, where we've been through the trenches, we've seen all of the issues and problems, we've outcompeted so many different competitors, small, large, huge, massive giants, and we're the ones that are still standing. And that's what I hope gives everybody who's listening confidence in our token Uthr and in the progress that we're making. We are meticulous. We're not going to launch something out that is going to have any kind of issues. I mean, I recently posted about issues with Horizon World, where exactly the kind of thing that I was warning about, which is children being predated on, children being exposed to pornography, um, uh, and it's like, how in the world can you have allowed this to happen when? And it's I mean, I'm going to attribute this to a rush to market and inexperience, but it just seems like totally thoughtless. We, of course, have built in access control layers. We've built in age verification systems. We've sequestered adult content away in a sovereign red light center, so that we maximize the um, technological barriers to having children predated on. Um, and we also have a system of um, moderation, um, guides, ambassadors, protectors, leaders, this whole system where if they see something happening, they can ban accounts, they can suspend accounts, they can, people can report. How dare you launch out a metaverse without having locked all of those pieces in place to protect the community as best you can? I mean, it's never going to be 100% foolproof, but you do the best that you can. And it was just flabbergasting to me. I mean, but not surprising, I got to be honest. But, the world we live in, I'm constantly not surprised, but let down. But we just don't operate that way, and sometimes it's painful. Patience is a virtue, I hear. Sometimes it's painful to delay things while we make sure that everything is, operating the way that we want it to operate, that we know that, nothing's going to break. But that comes from having three prior software generations worth of experience, 17 or more countries, I think, to which we franchised, where we can see global issues. We can see how different locales and regions, have different priorities and different interests, and ultimately synthesize a software offering, a virtual world web, which can accommodate all of these things, all of the interests and demands. And that's how this becomes the next layer of the internet. That's how Otherverse becomes, assumes Web 1, assumes Web 2, and really assumes Web 3 into a central hub, which is Xeon. And that's the plan. And we've wow, have we made progress this week towards that? I think we're at the end of the waiting period. Um, I'm anticipating one more day, and then there's something magical about to happen. um,
Cool, very good. So we have a few more things that we want to get to today, Brian, on the on
yeah.
the on the docket here. You want to give away some more Uther, and let's pivot a bit.
Well, I suppose let me just put a bow on that, and then
Sure,
we'll give
sure.
away more.
Go ahead.
So we of course have continued our stress tests, continued our load tests, and I think we're at the end. There is so we've seen more than a 6,000 times increase in speed So we've dropped latency, we've increased speed of, in other words, the number of connections that can be handled in a second increased by more than 6,000 um, with these optimizations. So now I'm feeling quite confident that we could host massive events. There's one, basically maybe two remaining tiny choke points where there's potentially a race condition that causes an error um, that will happen very rarely. These are being resolved today. We'll do final internal stress testing tomorrow, and then we'll probably have a big party and say we're going to try to break it. We'll try to see if there's anything that can break in the system before we absolutely launch it out. And we've got our launch plans. I talked about it last week. Autumn of music. We're going to have all kinds of musicians coming in, all kinds of other performers. We're adding in all kinds of very cool, like rave items and effects. Hula hoops, juggling, poi, glow sticks, and neon. I keep pushing for the fairy wings because those are kind of my favorite. Not to disparage any of the other glowy effects, which are also I used to do poi myself and lasers, but really to get the audiences having a spectacular time. Um, this is going to draw in massive crowds when we do it, and everybody's going to have a fantastic time. It will expand the base of users. It will expand the uh, number of wallet holders, and I think we're off to the races. Um, uh, it's just a matter of making sure that we've got the capacity to be able to handle all of the users that are going to come online simultaneously for these events, and I'm feeling quite confident now that we've got that well in hand. So I think that's the magic. Uh, uh, if I had fairy wings and a wand, you'd see the particle effects of my magic dust going out over the software.
Yeah, the fairy wings, those are particle affected, right?
Well, the ones that are the FNFTs are.
Oh, got you. That's what I was gonna. That's what I was alluding to.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, oh
Yep.
yeah. I cannot wait to see those in world at music festivals, because man, those are really spectacular from the I forget which generation of trunks those ended up in.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So, and if you're just joining us or you're not really aware, for the original Web3 community, we did an offering for two versions of FNFTs. There are functional, non fungible tokens, meaning they're not just pictures; they have real in-world use. You can find the Gen ones over on OpenSea. They will be then transferred in-world into Xeon when we have that the closet function connected, and then you'll open that, and then you open the boxes, and then that's how you receive your FNFTs. That sale's been over for a long time, but they're still reselling on OpenSea.
Yeah, yeah, and we're closing in. Boy, we're closing in on getting all of this stuff finally connected. And like I said earlier, patience is a virtue, not just for me, but for the entire community. I mean, I'm so grateful for the patience. It's nice to have had the maneuvering room to get the software dialed in the way that I really wanted, and to get everything hammering so that we know when we open the doors properly that there's no need to go back.
Yep, yep.
Yep. All right. You have a winner, Jake?
I got a winner. All right.
Awesome.
So second winner of the day um, is Kim at Bitcoin King 100. At Bitcoin King 100. Congratulations. You've won our second prize of the day. Please DM us here at Otherverse to coordinate and claim your prize. Congratulations.
All right. Congratulations.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. So that's good. Um, yeah, so I got some other stuff here, Brian, but I want to let you really round out that thought if you had more stuff on that. You're just on that topic.
Well, I think the next. I'm really good on that topic. The next thing that I would like to touch on is the token.
Yep, yep, that's on my list as well.
Perfect. Um, Okay, so update on where we are with the token. Um, this has been a little bit more challenging than I had anticipated in order to get the all of the flags removed. But I am being told now from my dev team that this is happening this weekend. So what you're going to see on the token in some places will report an artificially high market cap as we mint out the balance of the token, because we need to get the tokens into our multi-sig security enhanced wallet, uh, uh, treasury wallet, basically, um, where we can remove the minting flag. But in the smart contract, we have a different wallet that was designated as the non-circulating supply wallet, not the wallet that we have now in the multi-sig. Um, it was much more secure for us to create this new multi-sig um, authenticated wallet than to use the Mint2 wallet. So we're nevertheless going to mint out the balance of the tokens, send them to the secured wallet, um, and you may see some reporting that for a short period of time that the market cap is showing a circulating supply as all of the tokens. Those tokens are not circulating; they're sequestered and they're protected. But the delay, and the reason why I say it's harder, is that the reporting entities. It's like all of this decentralization stuff. The reporting entities that uh, check on chain to determine, what's the circulating supply. They have the original contract address, um, and us getting that changed is the source of delay. So I gave the authorization to go ahead and just do it, because I think everybody will understand that we're not releasing tokens into the market. Our intention and our plan remains unchanged. The tokens that are going into the multi-sig security wallet are really designed for a 20-year rollout, as we become the next layer of the internet, when there's billions of users, and we're going to be burning a bunch of these tokens anyway. Um, and we'll start making burn announcements, which I think will, generate excitement and reduce the supply. But all of that, none of that can happen until we've actually gone through and done this mint. So I'm pulling off the band-aid. We're going to try to get this all resolved over the weekend, and that's going to make it much easier. Then we can get the name authenticated, because we've got to get that flag removed in order to get the official name, Uthr. And once that's done, then we can turn attention to providing the liquidity, and this is going to come at the same time that we're really opening the doors to the metaverse platform, the virtual world web platform, to a wide range of new users. And that's the game plan in not a whole lot of words here. That's the game plan moving forward over the next week or two. So uh, you know, there's always a million decisions to make, but I just want to be 100% crystal clear. These tokens are not going into circulating supply, um, and we are going to hold close to the vest. Um, uh, our intention is really to reduce supply of tokens. Obviously, we're minting some tokens which are going into the node bonus pool, and so that's exciting. Those node bonus pool tokens are paid out over 5 years once the Uther chain activates. Those tokens are essentially, going to bleed out over a very long period of time and not starting anytime soon. Um, there are many tokens which are there for, play to earn, which are designated again for the, to bleed out over many, many years as a bonus on play to earn. And the value of play to earn, which we learned from Raise, we've done this for many, many years, is we're paying out fewer tokens than we're taking in. So, we have the pool of tokens available so that we can incentivize, but we're monetizing. So people buy advertising for tokens, for example, and some of that advertising, some of those advertising tokens that we take in are redistributed to the users who are seeing the ads or engaging with the ads. And these ads are typically for things that users really want anyway, like come to our concert, or uh, we're having a karaoke event or a movie screening. Um, so I want everybody to feel 100% assured that there's not dilution happening here. This is not a anything to be concerned about. It's just a reporting thing, and the status is unchanged. And in fact, our intention always is to have Uthr be a deflationary token, where we're pulling more tokens out than we take in. And once those engines are running, those will be tokens that we burn. The intention is to continue to burn tokens and reduce supply. So that's kind of my recap on the token. We're 2,900 plus holders, or excuse me, yeah, approaching 3,000. Looking forward to adding liquidity. Looking forward to having flags removed, and blowing things up with new users coming onto the platform.
It's a beautiful thing, Brian. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
It's really on a real note. It's really great to see even these spaces. We've been doing these spaces I think for about 6 months consistently, and right now we're at 176 listeners. We started with like I think 20 the first couple times, and even just the community on X is really growing, and it's all congruent with everything else we're doing across platform.
Yeah. Yeah. uh, it's really fantastic to see the engagement of the community and the growth. And this is really, I mean, everybody is so early, because really, when we start for real, I mean, I don't know. I date myself all the time, but I think back to MySpace, where uh, nobody had ever heard of it, and 2 weeks later, every single person you knew was on the platform.
Mhm.
um, and it kind of choked out MySpace, to be honest. The rise and the fall, so abrupt. But if you're prepared and you know that this enormous rise is going to happen, and you've taken all of these precautions, I mean, I suppose this, now that I think about it, this is my history with everything. My first web company. I put up a website, and in 48 hours, it's down, and Earthlink had crashed because of all the traffic that I generated. And it's the most painful thing in the world to be looking at this, going, I had a massive success, and they couldn't keep up. And then it's the same with multiple projects that I've been involved in, and this one we really have taken the time to lock it down, make sure that this doesn't happen, so that when we really open the doors, we can have, and maybe it'll be next week, and maybe it'll be 6 months from now, when it catches fire, and all of a sudden everybody flocks to it. But we will be prepared, and that's going to be the difference. Want to make sure that all the hatches are battened down, so that we don't, God, so that we don't take on water. I don't know where these analogies come from sometimes.
It's so funny.
All right. Well, I'm open to questions, or if Jeff has some stuff he wants to talk about, or
Yeah, let's welcome Death up for a bit. Death Division, how you doing, bud?
Good morning, everyone. How y'all doing?
good.
Doing well, man.
That's good. Another beautiful day here in Oz. Sun's just waking up, so it's always a good day. Um, but yeah, I'm very keen as always. I love it. There's always something big and new coming, and the constant growth that we're seeing as well is amazing. Really, these spaces have been exploding over the past few. What right now, I've got 175 people in here, so that's great to see. Absolutely love to see that. One thing I was going to say earlier is I've got a leverage trading platform I can send you through, Brian. I know you were looking for one of those
Ah,
before, so
excellent.
I'll be able to hook you up with one of them. Um, but yeah, I'm just keen. We've got a lot of people really active in the token. We've got some great analysis getting pushed around crypto Twitter. The raids are going well. People are raiding hard. We're getting noticed by some very large users on here, and a fair few KOLs that are actually recognizing it and putting their eyes onto it. So that's always a great momentum and movement. Um, yeah, I'm keen as I love it. I'm glad that people are finally starting to wake up to it and see it as well, because it's deserved. You put so much time and effort into this over the many many years, um, and this is only the beginning. This is only the start. We've still got so far to go, and it's going to be a crazy ride. That's for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, when I look at the progress that we've made, just even over the last couple of years, it's so stark and it feels incremental week after week, but when you compare to where we were, and now seeing what is about to happen, I mean, it was just like a credit to everybody when we started having events that were so massive, that the platform couldn't handle it. And uh, I shouldn't say couldn't handle it as effectively and efficiently as it would need to in order to be able to scale those events. I mean, to be able to break something like that quickly, was a feather in the cap.
100%. That shows a lot of people commitment. So it's really good to see that. I love the crash days and trying to just push everything to its limits. It's a fun day for sure.
Yeah.
But if you guys haven't, make sure to download Zayon and jump in world and have fun and look around. It's seriously beautiful. Like, really good job on that. The atmosphere, the vibe, the lighting as well in all the scenes just really add another level to it as well. I've done a few videos in the past of it, and just ambient lighting, it really adds a lot to a world, and they've managed to kill it with the ambient lighting, adding just that atmosphere. You feel like it's there, it's real. You can see items that have shadows, reflections. It just adds so much more. Oh, I'm blanking on the word. Like, just realism.
Yeah, realism. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I appreciate that. There's so much work that goes into all of those things, and particularly in making systems, because it's not just us doing it. It's making the systems so that when we turn this over to third parties to be able to build their own sovereigns, that they can easily do this ambient lighting. They can easily do these shadows and reflections and all of the things that you're talking about. Even the avatars with the translucency on the skin, where you can sort of, if there's a light behind the earlobe, you can kind of see the earlobe, translucency, or veins below the skin. All of that, those little features that required teams of people to make sure that it wouldn't just be a one trick pony, that a third party can come in, build a sovereign, create their own avatars, and these avatars can have these kinds of features and lighting. So yeah, it's beautiful. If you haven't done it, download it. Come on in, join the events, the parties, because this is really such a big project, and such a I mean, I always laugh when I look at the token. Like, it's so under the radar. I mean, I just, as soon as the veil is pulled back and we really go to town, I can't even imagine what's about to happen.
100%, 100%. I'm actually really keen to see what people do with their own sovereigns and how they build it out. That's going to be the fun one as well, seeing that sort of growth, because in a lot of games that allow building like that, the team does so well, but the community, they can just do some crazy stuff. Like, a lot of the games that I've played, where like just regular games that you can build something, but then the community comes along and they just work wonders. I'm very keen to see the first few big ones that come out and see exactly what they do with the platform.
Absolutely, I'm always blown away with what the community is able to do. Well, Jake, I don't know. Do we have any questions? Got a few minutes left here.
Yeah, I'm farming right now. I don't see anything here. I'm going to
Nice.
YouTube real quick. I don't see on YouTube either. No, I think that you've been very comprehensive on your stuff today. So, but give me one
Yeah.
more sec. Let me go through. Let me go through. Oh, okay. Here's a good one. Actually, you know what? Uh, Kiraz, you're up here. You asked a good question. Kiraz, you're up here with Brian Schuster. You want to ask him yourself? Okay, you know what? I'll just ask it for
Yeah.
you. No problem. So essentially, let me go back to it. Where was it? Right here. Hold on, I got off the page. Essentially, it was asking how do we plan to incorporate other into other token onto other blockchains,
Yeah.
other net
Well,
or DeFi protocols to enhance its utility.
right. So, of course, our main project moving forward with the token is our layer two blockchain, the Uther chain. We're selling nodes right now, validator nodes, for the Uther chain in the pre-sale. We'll be announcing the actual pre-sale open generally to the public and promoted as soon as we've, well, let's say shortly, with price increases on the nodes. If you have an interest in that, we've got a link directly on the otherverse.io website, right up at the top in purple, pre-sale, and it gives information about the node. But generally, the way that this is going to ultimately work on other chains is going to be similar to how other tokens solve this. My main focus is going to be on the world Uther, because that's, I think, how a lot of people are going to transact. Um, so that's the Uther token, um, which is internal ledger, that allows for things like escrow. It allows for things like rebilling. It allows for things like dispute resolution through our world justice system, um, and then cashing out to the Uther token on chain so that it can be traded freely. But as far as cross chain, that's going to just need to be done by swaps. It will need to be done by I imagine that'll be a nice third party developer projects as the token matures and assumes its rightful place in the top in a list of top tokens. There's going to be plenty of ammunition for third party developers. I mean, I don't want to do everything in house. It's always nice to have cottage industry that works around your technology and enhances it with their teams. So that's how we've done a lot of stuff with the classic system, with Raise, with clothing. Lots of ways to allow clever entrepreneurial developers to earn, and to in that way to promote. So you get the community of developers behind you from multiple other chains.
Beautiful. Yeah, I mean, and that makes sense too because the real use case of other token is going to be the transactor and stabilization token for our other tokens that are involved on the other sovereigns in Xeon, right?
Right, right. I mean, every sovereign that has a token, ideally they're going to move that onto Uther chain, so that the token can interact seamlessly on our platform. Um, and the overarching token for all of that, for all of the gas and for all of the system to user, user to system transactions, ultimately is the Uther token, which will become the Uther coin. And so, yes, uh, uh, having tens of thousands of projects that have tokens minted on our layer two. Um, this is where, again, circling back to what we were talking about at the beginning of the conversation, um, the the maturing of Web3, the maturing of blockchain. We're doing this with NFTs. I was asked the question, how do we authenticate NFTs? Um, uh, well, if you're going to use an NFT, if you're going to display an NFT in Otherverse, on in a sovereign on our platform, we can go out to the chain. We make sure that that project is registered with us, and authenticated, and that you're the owner of that NFT. And then metadata can be displayed when a user clicks or examines the NFT. The NFT may gain function, but it eliminates the ability to uh, counterfeit NFTs. And similarly with tokens, and similarly with all of these projects. So there's a lot of maturation of Web3 that happens when it's properly integrated into the next layer of the internet, and that's ultimately where we're heading.
Exciting times, exciting times. Um, Death Division. I know you have been on some other spaces lately. Um, where's what's your perspective on the state of the market right now with rates coming down? I'm just going to pivot slightly since we're talking about tokens here.
Yeah, yeah. I think the market's in an interesting pinch point right now. We're seeing a lot of highs come in, and we're seeing a lot of retraces in other major tokens. The other week was very red for a lot of tokens, and the good one is Uther held strong through that, so that shows we've got a strong holding community. Um, like a lot of people are speculating that we're coming to the end of this leg, but it's a hard one because we've never seen a leg in the bull run where we've had ETFs backing majority of the major tokens. So we're sort of like shifted into a new style of bull run with the ETF backings that we're seeing for the first time here. So that's going to be interesting to see how that sort of plays out and whether that impacts the traditional leg ups that we've been seeing for the past 20 years. So like I still believe we have the meme coin and NFT run to come. We haven't seen that yet. We're seeing the altcoin sort of started. Um, Bitcoin and ETH have tilted out a bit. They're stabilizing in their larger positions now. So then usually from there we go to NFTs and then meme coins to finally finish. Um, I'm seeing it as a good thing. I'm seeing it positively. Like I think we've still got a bit to go in the altcoin run here, but it's just acting very differently compared to prior runs.
Yeah, at the same time too, here's something I'm sure I'm sure you can speak on this. September's are have historically, even during bull runs, are a retrace month, is from what I'm understanding.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Coming into that October, November, that's where we start to see those major upticks.
Yeah,
Um,
especially with the rates cutting, and then with the ETFs, I'm super bullish. I'm super bullish, especially since what you just said, the on other, so that's actually great.
Yeah, that was huge. That was huge. I don't think a lot of people really understood how big that was because, well, I obviously in the Discord I get a lot of chat about it, and a few people are like, oh, it's retrace, and I'm like, have you seen other major tokens this week? Like a few of the bigger ones, like the larger known tokens I hold, were retracing like 50%, 40% through that week, and that is huge, especially at those large market caps. And then we look at Uther, and it was barely retracing at all. If not, we had a few big upticks and broke that like few barriers and resistance levels we were hitting. So that was huge to see that sort of break away from the market trend. So I was very bullish on that. As to why I had to do that post of a bit of analysis there and get the name out, and yeah, it's good. I'm sitting comfortably. I'm very happy with this. I'm not selling out and taking it as this is the top. So I'm very, very confident in the positions right now.
Yeah, yeah. I definitely would be. Um, well, let's just say I'm not going to give investment advice. But uh, uh, interest rates coming down, they're going to come down probably radically. Um, just look what's happening in gold, and the fact that Bitcoin. I don't know. And the stage that we are in this cycle, and how that relates to Uther. I mean, well, all I can say is I believe we are seeing opportunity of a lifetime, right? And man, I'm excited for everybody who's about to take this ride. And on that note, Jake, let's pick a winner and give away more.
All right, I got
All
one picked
right.
out already. So we've got our grand finale, or grand prize winner, picked and ready to be announced here. Third and final prize of the day, ladies and gentlemen. D underscore Vinery. D underscore Vinery. Congratulations, you are the grand prize winner of the day. Please go ahead and DM us here at Otherverse, and we will coordinate your winnings. Congratulations.
Congratulations, awesome! And make sure everybody comes back next week because you qualify for double winnings if you were here the prior week. So next week you could win double.
That's right. And I also want to say one more thing. Thank you so much to Brian. Thank you, Death. Thanks for being here with us today and taking your time to share with the community. Um, for the winners of the prizes, once we send you your prizes, please go ahead and screenshot your winnings and repost it. Or post it up. We will repost it. It kind of just shows proof of life and the fact that these prizes are actively going out every single week. Thanks to Brian.
Good point. Good point. Well, once again, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I am really excited for next week's space, where I hope I'm going to have some big actual milestone announcements. So make sure you check it out, and have a great week, everybody.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Brian. Have a beautiful week. We'll see you here this time next week on the same channel. Be good, everyone. Be safe, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, Jake. Thanks, Dad. Thanks, everyone.